If you're looking for an excellent day trip from London, why not consider Windsor? Famous in equal proportions for Swans, the Queen, and the Queen's Swans, it is certainly an intriguing place. And if you do end up visiting, you'll be able to answer such monumental questions as: who lives in Windsor Castle? Is it true that the Queen owns all the swans? And how many swans are too many swans? Before we dive into the murky waters of the Thames, it would be amazing if you would consider making a splash too by joining Team Tanuki. We release new videos every Friday on a whole range of topics, and you can make sure that you never miss out simply by clicking that subscribe button below. It is cheap and easy, just like pizza, and it is a really quick way to support the channel.
And today we are in Windsor. I've been here a few times before. This is Jenny's first time, and yeah, so we're going to have a bit of an exploration, and we're going to see if anybody's home. Nah, doesn't look like it. Let's keep going.
It only takes about an hour to get to Windsor from London with regular trains from Waterloo. Tickets start from just £5, which is approximately the same price as a coffee in London. The journey is easy, the train is fairly decent, and Windsor is pretty and quaint. It is all centred around the sprawling Windsor Castle, which is the longest occupied castle in Europe. Look out for the Royal Standard flapping in the breeze. That means that the Queen is in. It is, after all, her official residence. And the castle is huge. It covers the area of 269 tennis courts, and there are over 400 clocks dotted around. When the clocks actually go forward in spring and backwards in autumn, it takes over 16 hours to change them all, and I don't envy the job of the person who has to do that. There's a lovely walk from the castle out into the countryside called the Long Walk, named because it is a long walk. So if you're looking for something different to do, it is definitely worth checking out.
In a few minutes we're heading over to the town centre to look for those famous swans, but first I just wanted to bring your attention to something. This road is called the Long Walk. It measures just over 4 kilometres, 2.6 miles, and it is, as they say, a long walk. It leads all the way up to Windsor Castle, where the Queen is inside binge watching The Crown. And the whole road gives off this sort of Game of Thrones vibe. You could imagine being an invading army or an attacking army coming up this road, being seen as you advance, and getting closer and closer to find that the castle starts to appear bigger and bigger, almost like an illusion. And that's funny because your chances of winning here are pretty much an illusion as well.
In the town itself, there is a shopping centre in the Windsor and Windsor Central station. Here you can find the steam locomotive which used to transport Queen Victoria. It is in fact a replica that was built for an exhibition and then was too costly to take away afterwards. As a bonus fact, Windsor and Windsor Central station actually served as an underground station for a brief time, and between 1883 and 1885 you could catch a district line train from the City of London all the way here. And now we're gonna walk along Queen Charlotte Street. It might take us a while, so we're gonna do a time lapse. It's a good thing we time lapsed that, otherwise it would have taken ages. The most iconic part of Windsor, in our opinion, are the swans.
For most of us, seeing a swan or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 is a joyful occasion. They are so elegant, sleek and romantic in the way that they mate for life. We have been lucky to see loads of swans and cygnets through our park adventures, but normally one family occupies each lake as they tend to be quite territorial. And there's something quite magical about seeing them fly through the sky with all the grace and poise of a brick. When I was a child, I thought they were magical creatures, a bit like unicorns or mermaids, or at least equally elusive. All I can say is that I should have visited Windsor sooner.
Just 30 kilometers away from London, along the very same river, is a buzzing swan metropolis with literally hundreds of swans. They're everywhere, swarming along the river, slightly aggressive towards anybody foolish enough to feed them, and more than slightly aggressive to each other as they pull feathers and bite.
Now here in Windsor there are a lot of swans alongside the Thames here. As you walk along you will see, I don't know, we counted about 250 and then we stopped. Every July they do an official count where they pull the swans out of the water and they mark them and they count them. All the unmarked ones belong to the Queen, but I think if we ask really nicely, she might let us take one home as a souvenir. Peter Neville, ITV News.
Being the foolish fools that we are, we foolishly bought food to feed the feisty swans until they got full and fully appreciated the food that we foolishly fed them. However, it slightly backfired. Geese and ducks got involved too, leaping onto the river banks, hunting me down like a lion to an injured gazelle, or Peter to a half-price pizza. We barely escaped with our lives.
But escape we did, and despite Jenny's, let's say, melodramatic retelling, it was actually quite lovely. It was very refreshing to walk along the river and just to travel again.
Windsor is a lovely day out. It offers something different and it is rather pretty, even if the day we chose was a bit overcast. We're still getting used to traveling again after a year pretty much staying in the same place, but a lot of travel still remains. Bad news, unfortunately we couldn't get a swan as a pet. We did ask the Queen, but she said no.
They are not unicorns, unless of course somewhere, probably in Scotland, there's a massive field full of unicorns that secretly belong to the Pope. And if there is, I guess that's a video for another time.
That doesn't sound like a swan.